Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Long time no see. I know I have not been back for what feels like a year, very close to a year. I want to say 10 months. So I apologize for that. But if you stuck with me this long and you've been around and stayed subscribed, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so I was gone because I had a whole baby. She is so cute. So she is sitting right next to me. You can see her little feet going right there. And she's content right now. Otherwise I'd pick her up and show you guys. But if I pick her up, put her on my chest to show you guys, and then put her back, she'll freak out. So we're not doing that just yet. Also, we're not thriving with the fact that my neck and chest is literally Casper the Friendly Ghost and none of my foundations match. So my face is a whole different shade than my rest of my body. We're not talking about it. We're just moving on. So yeah, I wanted to start off, like, you know, come back with a Q&A on like plus size pregnancy, my birth questions you guys all had, or you know, new mom questions, things like that. So I opened that up on Instagram. If you're not following me there, I was more active on Instagram than I definitely was on YouTube this past year, just because it's easier to, you know, snap a pic, and less anxiety causing. I don't know why. I just was so afraid of getting like comments about plus size pregnancy and anything negative that I just did not want to open that Pandora's box while still being pregnant. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I will leave that down below. I have a bunch of pictures of Cecilia on there. And I pretty much snap on my story, post a picture on my story, I would say a couple times a week at this point. So I know I'm not as active as like other influencers. I say influencers because like I don't feel like I'm an influencer, but you know, yeah, I'm definitely not as active as like other people. I don't have like a post schedule. I'm not as dedicated to that, especially at this time in my life. I'm kind of just like rolling with the punches. So I'm sure I'll have to stop a couple times through this video. I actually had already filmed this video once today. It's now 3:30. I think I asked on Instagram around like 8 a.m. So I'd already filmed this video once, but I had to stop several times. Baby had a blowout. Baby was hungry. Baby just needed to be on mom so I could like put her to sleep. So obviously that all comes first. So we're trying again. We're filming this again. Also, we're in my dining room. The room that I was filming in before is now Cecilia's nursery. So yeah, this is now my this is my dining room slash, I guess, office now, for the time being. First thing I want to say though, if you haven't already clicked out of this video and you are gonna leave a negative comment about plus size pregnancy, plus size mothers, plus size anything that has to do with trying to conceive, being pregnant, having a baby, please see yourself out. Yeah, we're not into that here. So please see yourself out. And if you're still here, hi, cheers. Here's a crispy Diet Coke for you. I feel like I'm running on borrowed time here. So we're gonna go as fast as possible, which is probably not that fast at all. Let's see. Thank you guys all so much for all your congratulations, by the way. A lot of the comments or like the questions were just congratulations and so excited that I'm filming again. So thank you so much. I've missed it truly. I did vlog a little bit. There's like some clips from when I was pregnant, a couple of clips from when I was in labor. Whew, that was extremely traumatic for me. Like I really feel like I have PTSD from the experience and I'm still not healed. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but yeah. I can't watch those clips yet is what I'm trying to get at, to add them in anywhere, because it just causes me a lot of anxiety. The first question I see is best plus size baby carrier. So I have 3 of them. The first type I have is like one of those wrap carriers where it's just like a really long piece of fabric and you wrap it around your body and put baby in, kind of like a little kangaroo, it feels like. That one I ordered on Amazon. I'll link it down below. I want to say it's like Koala Mom or something with a K. I don't know exactly what it's called. It's great. I don't feel like it's 100% supportive of baby. Like I'm not confident to move my hands away. And that's kind of the point of a carrier is to be like hands-free. I'm not 100% confident in that one to where I feel like I can move my hands and feel safe, that she's gonna be safe. The next kind I have that is like my absolute favorite is the Ergobaby 360 carrier. That one I believe starts at 11 or 12 pounds and goes all the way to 45 pounds where you can carry the baby, different positions, you know, facing you, front facing. I think they have a hip facing position. That one is so comfortable. I feel 100% safe in that with her being in it to like move my hands. She likes it. I put it on. She typically falls asleep within seconds of just like that chest contact. She's a contact sleeper baby, not at night, but like she does love contact naps, and she typically will fall asleep on me before I transfer her to her bassinet. So I think that's also why she loves it, is just because like she can be real close. It is plus size friendly. I believe the waist strap goes, yeah. I believe the waist strap goes up to 52 inches. That one fits me perfectly. I don't need an extender or anything like that. And the next one I have is the similar type of carrier where it's like the full straps and everything where you clip it on. And it's from Amazon. I don't remember the brand name, but I'll link it down below. That one is very plus size friendly. That one I have like a good 8 inches of extra space, 8 or 10 inches of extra space in the like belt area where like I've had to tighten it. So that one is extremely plus size friendly. It's also a fraction of the cost of the Ergobaby. However, I don't feel like it's as good of quality as the Ergobaby, but it'll do, you know what I mean? Like it's perfectly fine. Next question I see is, how was your pregnancy experience? So overall, my pregnancy experience was pretty textbook. I had a pretty healthy pregnancy all the way through up until the last, you know, up until I was induced. But I had a very, very textbook pregnancy. Everything was perfect. All my levels were perfect. She passed all her tests perfectly. Like everything was great. I was extremely sick, like nauseous, vomiting, miserable, sick, that kind of sick the whole time. Like for 40 straight weeks, I literally felt like I had a stomach virus every single day. So loved that for me. It was real fun. 10 out of 10. Hated that part of it. But, and especially because like some people, it's not a big deal to throw up or to feel sick like that. I have health anxiety, medical anxiety. I hate all doctors. I don't want to say nurses, but like I just hate that experience. Like doctor's offices, hospitals, even just like dermatologist, any kind of doctor, I panic. I literally panic. And any feeling where like my body is not, I'm not in control of my body. So like vomiting, things like that sends me into like panic. So yeah, that was a real tough part for like my mental health, the entire pregnancy. And then like leading up to delivery, that 3rd trimester for me was very, very, very stressful, because all I could think about was like, how am I gonna get this baby out? Like I was so stressed on how I was gonna get the baby out, like delivery, how that was all gonna go. And because I had such bad anxiety, I knew that my blood pressure was gonna be an issue in the hospital. It had not been an issue up until I was in the hospital. But I knew because of previous experiences, when I had panic attacks, things like that, my blood pressure skyrockets when I'm extremely anxious and in that fight or flight. So like I was panicking over that aspect, panicking that I was gonna give myself preeclampsia, like the whole 9. So yeah, I would say pregnancy was tough on my mental health. A lot tougher for me than postpartum has been. Pregnancy was for me. Does she sleep through the night? Okay, I don't want to brag because this could all change tomorrow, but she has literally slept through the night since like 3.5, 4 weeks. She's currently 10 weeks. So she's been sleeping through the night we've had some decent sleep, I will say. Now for me, it's not sleep like it was before our baby. It's sleep where like I'm in this very light, like hypervigilant state. I feel like I'm asleep, but like I'm very aware of what's going on. Cause like every move she makes, every noise she makes, if she coughs, if she even just like, you know, moves. She's a noisy breather. She has reflux and colic. And so like she will cough when she's laying flat. She'll gag, she'll sneeze a lot, things like that. And like, I'm just very aware. So yes, we're sleeping through the night. For me, it's definitely not the same kind of sleep, but I am grateful to not be waking up every 2 hours, like, you know, in the beginning. She sleeps from like, I want to say like 10:30. She takes her last bottle anywhere from like 10 to 11. And then she'll fall asleep shortly after that. She'll get her last like diaper change, the whole routine, swaddle, yada, yada. I put her to sleep, like she falls asleep on me and then I transfer her to the bassinet. Around like probably around 11:30, she's in the bassinet and she'll sleep till 7, 7:30, 8. She's even slept till 9 twice. Like, she loves her sleep. Girl loves her sleep. And the pediatrician's like totally okay with it because she has surpassed her birth weight. She's already almost 13 pounds at 10 weeks. She was born at 8 pounds, 8 ounces. So my pediatrician was like, let her sleep. Like, she wants to sleep, she'll sleep. And she makes up for it during the day. She's eating every 2 hours during the day, about 5 ounces. So that was a whole lot of explanation for one question. How was a labor and delivery? By the way, I love you, girl. The baby is the prettiest. Thank you so much. I love you too. Labor and delivery. Well, okay, so let's see. I feel like mine had like multiple layers to it because I am someone who already has such a fear of hospitals. I also delivered in the hospital that my dad died in, and that on top of my already, like, on top of the fear that I already had of hospitals and doctors and medical situations. I hate the monitors, I hate the noises, the smells, anything, everything. Really, really amped up my anxiety. So I was very scared going into it. And so I was induced. I don't know if I mentioned that already. I think I did. My due date was August 7th. I was induced August 8th and baby came August 10th. So I was in labor for over 30 plus hours with no epidural. I didn't get to 10. I got to only 5 centimeters, and then my baby, her heart rate started decelerating and was staying low. So we had to do an emergency C-section. But I really wanted to go natural, like vaginal, but it just didn't work. My blood pressure did end up skyrocketing in the hospital, which I knew it would because I've had panic attacks where, you know, my blood pressure skyrockets every time I go to the doctor. If I don't like zen out, like relax myself before, it's high. So the whole pregnancy, I had been monitoring it at home because of the fact that like I know my body and they know me by now, that like when I'm there, it's just high because I'm nervous, I'm anxious, whatever. So I've been monitoring it the whole time. My blood pressure is around like 111 over, sometimes it's like as low as 64, sometimes it's goes up to like 75, somewhere around there, like 111 to 117 over like 62 to 78 was my highest. So I go in the hospital, I'm freaking out. My blood pressure skyrockets to high, like very high. Like 190 is over, over 100, like panicking. My heart is racing, like all of that. I'm in a panic attack. So I had already talked to my doctors prior to this and let them, again, they know my medical history, they know me, they know that I have anxiety, they know that like it causes physical symptoms like that, yada, yada. But because I'm in a medical setting, they have to treat me as if it's a medical issue and not situational. So because I had that high number, they didn't really give me the chance to like calm down because I had that high number. Immediately they put me on magnesium drip, which if you have already had a baby and you had preeclampsia or high blood pressure, whatever, you know that the magnesium drip is no fun. Literally no fun. It is miserable. You feel like you're having an out-of-body experience. You're hot. Like I couldn't focus my eyes. I felt like I was floating above my body. It was so bizarre. So that on top of laboring for 30 plus hours and only getting to a 5, and then her heart rate going, you know, decelerating, was just traumatic all on its own. And being in a hospital was traumatic all on its own. Again, we ended in an emergency C-section. As they took her out, she wasn't breathing. She was purple and she didn't cry. I was like freaking out, like screaming, like, why isn't my baby crying? Is she okay? Yeah, I'm talking about you. I am. And it felt like an hour before anything. I didn't never heard her cry, period, while in, you know, in the operating room. She didn't cry. They did obviously get her like breathing and all of that, suctioned her out, got her breathing. She did have meconium in her water, so that played a part in it, and so did the magnesium drip. It like slowed her down. It's a muscle relaxer, so like, or it has like the muscle relaxing effect to it, so it slowed her body down and gave her like issues breathing. So that was traumatic. I didn't get to like hear her cry. They didn't tell me her weight or anything like that right when she was born because like it was an emergency situation. They were trying to get her, you know, going. Dan didn't get to cut the cord or anything. And then, you know, they worked on her for about 10 minutes. They showed her to me for maybe 10 seconds and they whisked her off to the NICU. And then I like told Dan to follow, obviously. And because I was on the magnesium, you have to stay on the magnesium for 24 hours after delivery. And because my baby was in the NICU, I wasn't able to go see her and she couldn't come see me. So I didn't get to see her for the first 24 hours. I didn't get to hold her, touch her. I didn't know her weight, like any of that for 24 hours. It was literal torture. But luckily she was good. She was strong. You know, she only spent the first 24 hours in the NICU and she was able to come be with me in labor and delivery. I also never had any like abnormal labs with preeclampsia or anything like that. Like they, you know, I never had protein in my urine. I never had an elevated, what is it called? I don't know. They check for your liver and kidney function because I guess with preeclampsia, like it can damage your organs like that. Never had any of that. As soon as baby was out, my blood pressure, I was like less anxious as soon as baby came out. My blood pressure kind of went down afterwards and everything was fine, but yeah. So that was my delivery. And I just want to say this here now, even if you're not planning on a C-section, please talk, and you're, okay, if you're plus size, have an apron belly, or like a belly that hangs over, anything like that, please, please, please talk to your OB about a Prevena wound vac for your C-section closure. That is something that if I had had that, I would not be dealing with the issues that I have now. I had advocated for myself to 2 of the OBs in the practice. There's a couple different OBs. I want to say there's 5. I had advocated for myself to 2 of the doctors, and I got the same answer every single time, that that's not their first line of care, to give me the Prevena wound vac. Now, next time I'll fight harder because I know what happens for me when I didn't have it. So on day 7 of postpartum, or, you know, yeah, day 7, I don't know how you say that. Day 7 postpartum, whatever. I woke up in a pool of fluid and I was just leaking fluid everywhere. My whole bed was soaked. I was soaked. Every time I like stood up and it just poured out of me. Every time I would move, it would pour out of me like that. Not just like a couple drops, like literal, like lots of fluid. So I called my doctor and she was like, you know, it could be normal, whatever, come on in. I went in, there was no infection, there was no anything like that. The wound had reopened to about 1 centimeter, and it was just leaking fluid. So she's like, go home, you know, in a couple days it probably will be done draining and everything will be fine. Well, a couple days later, still was draining, went back. She ended up packing it and was like, you probably need to see a wound care specialist. So I had been seeing a wound care specialist since about 3 weeks postpartum, and I ended up with, at first it was 1 centimeter wide, but it was 9 centimeters deep. The reopening, I had like a tunneling wound that was 9 centimeters deep. So yeah. So I ended up on a wound vac, which if you're in the medical field or anything, wound vacs are extremely painful. The Prevena wound vac is not, because it's a different kind of wound vac. Basically, it's just a negative therapy pressure, which is what the wound vac is, negative pressure therapy. But it's extremely painful when they go and change the sponge out and everything like that. So I dealt with that for about a month. And now my baby is 10 weeks old and my wound is 4 centimeters long, I believe, and 0.7 centimeters deep. So we have healed a lot, but we still have a little bit to go. So I'm still dealing with that, you know, 10 weeks later. So advocate for yourself, please, even if you're planning on a natural vaginal delivery, because I was planning on that. Things don't always go as planned. So keep that in the back of your mind. Sorry, the sun's coming in. Anyways, that was long-winded. How are you coping emotionally? I've got an 8-week-old and it's wild. So honestly, myself, personally, I would say I'm coping emotionally pretty well. I do have anxiety, but I think it's just like regular. I have an anxiety disorder regardless. Oh my God, it's so bright. Sorry guys. Let me see if I can turn this down a little. I don't know if that helped. I have an anxiety disorder regularly. So being postpartum, I would say that it heightened it a little bit. And just like first time mom anxiety of just like not knowing what to expect. It's, you know, first baby, it's a brand new thing that you've never experienced. You're going to have some anxiety. But other than that, I would say I'm okay. With the fact that I'm still not healed, it is isolating, and I have felt isolated and like lonely because I'm not able to lift my baby in her car seat still. I'm 10 weeks out and I'm still not able to do those things. I can't lift more than 15 pounds. So what's the matter? What happened? So in that aspect, it's been hard emotionally, but honestly, pregnancy for me was a lot more stressful than postpartum has been. But I'm sorry you're going through that. If you need help, please, please, please reach out to your doctor, to your OB. There's no shame in going on an antidepressant. I'm on Zoloft. I've been on Zoloft my whole pregnancy, before pregnancy, and now obviously after pregnancy, I'm still on it. There is no shame. Please, please, please seek out help. Your baby needs you to be healthy and happy just as much as you need yourself to be healthy and happy. Where did you find cute maternity plus size clothing? I'm stuck in sweatpants, LOL. Oh my God, literally plus size maternity does not exist. Like there is very, very, very minimal options when it comes to clothes for plus size pregnant people. There is a website I found called Yours Clothing, and they do have a plus size maternity section. I purchased like 2 tops and a pair of jeans. The jeans were too big for me, and the tops I wore several times. But I didn't necessarily gain a lot of weight during my pregnancy. I gained 15 pounds and she was 8.8 pounds herself. So I didn't really start feeling that up until the last couple of weeks of pregnancy, where your uterus is like at the top and it's just huge and hard. I didn't really start feeling like I was outgrowing things. Things were tight just because of like the bloat, and you know, my body did change its shape a little bit, but I was able to luckily just like wear leggings and I was okay. And dresses. As soon as it hit like May, I was in summer dresses, like sundresses the whole time. Now I know that we're going into fall and winter, so if you can just size up in your leggings, or check out that Yours Clothing website. They do have some cute options. I know ASOS, sometimes you can find some like plus size maternity. It's not like a whole section on their page, but you know, sometimes you can find it. That's kind of it, which is so sad. Torrid too. Sometimes you can find some plus size things on Torrid for maternity. They're sold out a lot of the times, but you can look. How far along were you before you had your sweet baby? I was 40 weeks and a day before I was induced, and she was born 40 weeks and 3 days. How was your labor and delivery? Kind of talked about that. How was the birth? I talked about that. How bad is the sleep deprivation? So again, oh my God, it's so bright. For me, the sleep deprivation wasn't too bad. In the beginning, it was tough. You know, she was up every 2 hours, but it goes by really quick. And the love that you feel for your baby, like you don't even feel, in the middle of the night at least, I didn't even really feel how tired I was. I would throughout the day feel exhausted, but you just kind of, it's like almost second nature. Like my body would naturally be waking up every 2 to 3 hours because it's like I knew that I had to feed the baby. 31 weeks preggo, tips for first time moms who have anxiety about L&D, literally freaking out. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry because I know that anxiety and that stress, and I don't have any tips because I was so terrified myself, literally so terrified. The one thing I guess I could say is maybe write out a birth plan if there's something, you know, things that you things that you specifically want to happen during your whole process. Write those out. I think that can help if you write out like exactly what you want to happen. And again, things don't always go as planned, so be open to that. What was it like being plus size and pregnant? So to me, it was just kind of like being pregnant. I don't know what it's like to not be plus size and pregnant, so it was just like being pregnant. Again, I had a pretty textbook pregnancy, a healthy pregnancy the whole time. So like I was blessed in that aspect. She passed all her tests. I passed all my tests the whole time. Glucose tests. So they made me take the glucose test twice. The first time I passed it I think that was around 13 weeks. I passed it with no problem. The second time I failed the 1 hour test and they wanted me to do the 3 hour test, but because of how nauseous that I was, I really did not want to take the 3 hour test. So I opted to do like a finger prick. You can check your blood glucose level 4 times a day. And all of my levels were always in range. So I never needed like any medication or insulin or anything like that. But other than that, like everything was normal for me the whole time. All my labs were always perfect. Everything was great with her. I had to go to a maternal fetal medicine doctor for the nuchal scan and the anatomy scan. I also had a fetal echo done because I was born with like a VSD, a ventricular septal defect in my heart, which is just like a small little hole that eventually closed up as I had gotten older. But because I was born with it, they wanted to double check her heart. So I had gone to a maternal fetal medicine for that aspect because of my BMI and because I had previous losses. So all of my OBs treated me, I would say, the same that they would treat any other patient. They never brought up my weight, anything like that. And I also had I set pretty clear boundaries with them that now is not the time to discuss weight loss or shame me for my body or anything like that, because obviously I'm pregnant. There's nothing I can do about it right in this moment. That's going to change from now to delivery. So I just kind of like set clear boundaries with them and they were all very respectful. I did have an issue with one doctor and I simply switched doctors. That was the first maternal fetal that I had seen. He was very negative, using a lot of like scare tactics of like, this is why women die, this is what happened, like that kind of stuff. And I only had one appointment with him and I called my OB and was like, I'm never seeing him again. Please switch me out to another, or give me recommendations for other doctors that I can see. And that was it. So if you're not happy with care, remember that you're going to them. You have the power to switch doctors. You can change, you can switch whole, practices. It's never too late, no matter how far along you are. Also, advocate for yourself because no one else is going to. Congrats, girl. What was your favorite part of pregnancy? And if you had any fears throughout? I don't know if this was like one that, looks like there was a comma there, but I think it got cut off. But thank you. My favorite part of pregnancy was feeling her kicks. That is like crazy. It is so like bizarre, but like the best thing ever to like feel the baby's kicks. I also had bought a Doppler, so I was listening for her heartbeat from like 12 weeks on. I would check it like once a week until I could start feeling her. So that was really cool too, to be able to like hear her heartbeat and know she was safe and know she was well. Also, like one of the perks was my hair grew really long. It's still super thin, but it grew pretty long from like the prenatals and stuff. So that was another perk for me. But definitely the best part were like, hearing her heartbeat and feeling her kicks. Formula or breast milk? Currently struggling with this. So I would want it to breastfeed. I planned on breastfeeding. Baby would not latch. Now, I don't know if that's because she spent the first day at the NICU and they'd given her a bottle or what, but she would not latch to me at all. So she would latch for like 2 seconds and then be extremely frustrated and start freaking out. Also, my milk took so long to come in and I really felt like my body had gone through hell and back from what I had been through, from being on the MAG to 30 hours of labor to a failed epidural to like everything. I was just so exhausted. My body was so tired and just like broken. I felt like that I had to give myself a break and I couldn't deal with breastfeeding or pumping. I needed to rest my body any way that I could. And so for me, that meant formula feeding, which is totally fine. I would say that I did have guilt about it. I did try to relactate a couple of weeks ago because like I had started to feel really guilty and really anxious about like the upcoming winter and like the antibodies that I produce that she's not getting because she's not drinking my breast milk. So I had tried to relactate. I was only getting like 10 milliliters every time I'd pump. So yeah, it just wasn't gonna happen for me, which is, again, it's fine. She's on formula and she's fed and she's happy and she's gaining weight and she's meeting all her milestones. So either way, it's fine. Why did you stop posting? I stopped posting because of my anxiety. I think I talked about this a little bit in the beginning. I just didn't really want to hear anybody's negative comments, negative stories about them being plus size and pregnant, or any just like stigmas. I just didn't need any more outside noise to the things that were already going on in my head, like the anxiety that I already felt. So that's why, for the most part. What's been your favorite part of motherhood so far? Your little girl is so beautiful. Thank you. My favorite part is just the whole thing. I absolutely love being a mom. I could cry thinking about it. I just love her so much. Like, she is just, why am I crying? Oh my God. She is just my world. Like, I love her. I would do anything for her. It's like just crazy, like how, you know, your baby comes out and you instantly just feel this like connection. It's like, it's literally not, I don't know. It's crazy. So the best part of motherhood is just like, I love that she needs me, and like, I love caring for her. I don't know. That sounds kind of weird, but I just love it. I love when she just like looks up into my eyes and smiles. She smiles now, and she kind of giggles and she coos and all that. It's just every little thing is just so fun. And I love dressing her. Like, love dressing her. Literally feel like I'm having my own little Barbie moment where I can just dress her up and play. It's so fun. So yeah, definitely those are my favorite parts of motherhood. Did you conceive naturally or did you have to do IVF? So we conceived naturally. We got married April 30th, 2022. We started trying in September of 2022. We gotten pregnant the first time we tried. Unfortunately, we lost that baby like a couple of days after I found out I was pregnant. So they consider that like a chemical pregnancy. And I had gone to the gynecologist a couple of months prior to us trying, just to get like my labs done and like see what was going on in my body, my hormone levels, all of that. And I was insulin resistant. That's nothing new to me. I've been insulin resistant my entire life, literally like from childhood. I've never been able to not be insulin resistant. So I knew that I was. And my doctor had said that that could play a role in a chemical pregnancy or a miscarriage. I had a couple of them. And so, you know, that was something that we were looking into. So after my chemical in September, October, we tried again, did not get pregnant. November, we tried again and we got pregnant. And before I got pregnant that month of November, like November 1st, I want to say, my gynecologist started me on metformin for the purpose of fertility because of insulin resistance. My gynecologist worked in reproductive health for 20 plus years with IVF patients and things like that. Now she wasn't, she was just, you know, a gynecologist, women's health doctor, or she was an APRN. But before that, she was working in like, you know, reproductive services. So she had, you know, suggested that we try metformin and it worked. I got pregnant and stayed pregnant. We had done, that's the only thing differently that we had done to like make the pregnancy stick, I would say, was be on metformin. I wasn't taking any vitamins or anything like, you know, there's a whole bunch of different things that I know are out there for the TTC community, trying to conceive community. I didn't have to do any of those. I didn't try any of those, but my issue is never getting pregnant. It has always just been like staying pregnant. So yeah, she gave me the metformin. She's like, I really think this is going to solve your issue. And it did. The first month I was on it was the first month that we got pregnant and stayed pregnant. Now, because of my previous losses, I was monitored often. As soon as I got my first pregnancy test. So I had tested positive 2 days before Thanksgiving of 2022. I was 9 days past ovulation and I tracked everything. So I knew that I was 9 days past ovulation, which is like the earliest that you can even see a faint positive, and it was a faint positive. But we had gotten labs done that day that I had gotten, you know, the positive, and then 48 hours later, just to make sure that my levels were doubling as they should. And they were, and we did that several times. I want to say up until 6 weeks, because I was just so scared of the lines disappearing or, you know, spotting or anything like that. I think I can't relate necessarily to the TTC community where it's, you know, you can't get pregnant, but I relate to taking millions of tests and watching those lines, seeing them get darker, making sure you get a dye stealer, every time you go to the bathroom, making sure you're not spotting, having that anxiety of, is there a heartbeat every ultrasound? It's something that I can absolutely empathize with. So if you are trying to conceive, I'm sending you baby dust. Me and Cecilia are both sending you baby dust, and praying for you. So what's your baby's name? So her name is Cecilia Sinclair Cruz. At first, we had a completely different name picked out for her. I thought we were gonna name her Giannina, which I love that name. I have a cousin named Gianna, and it seemed a little bit too similar. Like the more that I had said it out loud, I was like, this sounds so similar. Like, I don't know, I just felt too close. And then I ended up just not loving the name. The more I said it, like I kept saying it to, you know, make sure I liked it, and I just ended up not loving it towards the end. I mean, they're both beautiful names. Gianna and Giannina are both beautiful, beautiful names, but for some reason it just didn't feel right. And Cecilia was the only other name that we both kind of agreed on. So Cecilia it is. Also, Cecilia Cruz, that's so cute. Like Cece, I want to call her Cece. I love it. And then Sinclair came about just because I loved it. Dan still to this day doesn't love the middle name that we chose, but I loved it and I just thought it was beautiful. I don't know. I just find that name so beautiful, especially Cecilia Sinclair. Like, I just love the flow of it. So that's how her name came about. What was the hardest part of pregnancy and what was the easiest? There is no easy part of pregnancy. I'll just be the first one to say it. There is no easy part. The whole thing is hard. You're growing a human being. It is taxing on your body. It's taxing on your mental health. It is hard. That's not to say that it's not beautiful, but it's definitely hard. For me, it was physically, I was sick all the time, throwing up, heartburn, vomiting, anxiety, like the whole thing to me was hard. Thinking about, like, worrying if there was a heartbeat, worrying if I wasn't getting enough kicks, worrying, just constant worry. So that's the hardest part. The easiest part, again, was probably like hearing her heartbeat for the first time and feeling her kicks. So it's like a catch-22, I think. Do you want another? If you were to ask me that right now, considering I'm still dealing with complications from my C-section, I would say hell no, but I do want another. Like, I totally see why people do this again and again and again. I just need to give my body some time to heal and my mind some time to heal from that experience. How did you prep to get ready for birth? Did you drink teas, walk, etc.? I didn't do any of the teas. I did do like, what's the matter? What? I did do like the curb walking. That didn't really do anything for me. I also had a birth ball, like a big birthing ball, which I'd bounce on and, you know, rotate my hips and do all that. None of that induced labor for me. I've heard you can like eat dates and things. My doctors were kind of like, none of that works. It's all like bull crap. I don't know if it is or not. I've seen so many positive stories that it's worked for them, but I didn't try it. I want to say, like, everybody, I'm getting a lot of comments about like the fear of being pregnant because you're plus size. Hold on. Like, if you have a huge fear of being pregnant and plus size, please don't. Anything and anytime, no matter your body size, can go wrong in a pregnancy. It has, not a lot of it has to do with your body size. And that's what my doctor told me when I first wanted to, you know, when I first had the conversation about conceiving. Do not let that deter you from the joys of motherhood, please. If you're scared of being plus size and pregnant and your doctor is putting that fear in you, find another doctor. I had a textbook pregnancy, literally. So everything, you know, you can have a healthy pregnancy at any size. Please have some trust in your plus size fat body. You can do anything you want to do. Your body is capable of many things, including birthing a baby. Okay, and I'm back like hours later, and I'm talking in a lower voice because my baby's asleep. Dan has her in the living room, but it is now 8:40, so I've been trying to film this video for about 10 hours. Like, wow. Okay, let's answer a couple more. Who was the first person you told about being pregnant besides Dan? It was my mom, and I had FaceTimed her before I even told Dan because I was trying so hard to surprise Dan. Like, my whole, I don't know, like I was trying so hard. So I didn't tell him right away because I was trying to do like a cute little thing that you see where it's like, I was gonna like make a onesie like I had ordered Well, when I was pregnant in September, in those couple of days, I had ordered onesies from Amazon and like iron-on Cricut material, and I was gonna, and like a little box, and I was gonna like give him a box that said like, "Hi Daddy," or something like that, coming. And I think my due date would have been, I don't even know, June, May or June, from September. So I was like trying my hardest to surprise him again, but like keeping that secret was so freaking hard. And we were hosting Thanksgiving. We hosted Thanksgiving last year. So not only were we hosting Thanksgiving, but we also redid this room. If you remember, this wall behind me was like lime green. And I was just like fed up with the lime green. And we had like taken on the project of redoing this room days before Thanksgiving, before we were hosting. And I found out I was pregnant 2 days before Thanksgiving, and I like already had symptoms. I don't know if they were in my head or not, but like I doubt they were, considering how sick I was my whole pregnancy. Like the day before Thanksgiving, I was making homemade mac and cheese and threw up from the smell of the cheese. And that's not like me. I was trying to keep it a secret from him, so I told my mom because I thought I was losing the baby again. Because like I was obsessively taking pregnancy tests and like they weren't getting darker, but I was like logically I was taking them like hours apart from each other, so like they weren't gonna get darker from like 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., you know? But like in my mind, because I was so anxious of like it happening again, I convinced myself that like I was losing the baby. I'm opening another drink. This is now a 0 sugar root beer. Because, yeah. And yeah, so I had FaceTime my mom and I was like, "Oh, I'm pregnant, but I'm pretty sure I'm losing the baby." And like, I wasn't even like in a cute way. I was planning on surprising her in a cute way too, but obviously it didn't happen because I felt like I had to tell somebody. I also told my friends like on Snapchat, like as I was like, "Do you guys see this line? Is this line getting darker?" Like every test I would take, I would snap a picture and send it to them. So they also knew, but yeah. And how we told Dan's parents, they were like the only ones we were able to surprise because I had already told like my mom, and I was snapping Ryan also like pictures of the test. So like my brother knew. And yeah, so we told Dan's parents on Christmas Day. I was around 6 weeks at that point, I think a little bit past 6 weeks. And I had made the box that I was gonna make for Dan, but I just made it for like his parents and my mom. I made my mom one too, even though she knew that I was pregnant. And I just did like the little onesie, and it said baby cruise coming August 2023. Sorry, I heard the baby crying. So I had the onesie and I had little Santa booties from Carter's and I think something else. Oh, and the ultrasound picture in there. And so we surprised them. It was like the last gift that they opened, that his parents opened on Christmas Day, and they were like, "No way." Like they were very excited. So that was how we told them. So nice. All of you guys are so nice with your like, just congratulations and just happy, you know, happy thoughts and happiness for me. It's so nice. I love it. It's a family update. How's mama and brother? They're doing great. My mom is loving her role as, I want to call her Nana, but she's insisting on we call her Nona. I just feel like she doesn't look like a Nona. You know what I mean? Like when I picture a Nona, I'm picturing like a really old Italian lady dressed in black. I don't know. But they're doing good. Eddie's being, you know, loving his role as an uncle, and Ryan's loving her role as an aunt. They're getting married. I don't know. I don't think I even announced that. They got engaged in May. They're getting married in August of 2024. So they're doing that. Everybody's doing good. What diets or food were you eating while you were pregnant? Whatever I could stomach, to be honest with you. I was so nauseous, like, oh, that I like couldn't even cook. Like my poor husband, literally, I did not cook for 9 months. Could not cook. The smell of like meat cooking literally would send me dry heaving and running to the bathroom. Could not do it. So I was just eating whatever I could, which was kind of a lot of carbs. I feel like carbs are just like easy to stay in my stomach, like pasta, toast, crackers, things like that, which I don't know how I didn't gain weight because I swear all I ate was carbs and like not a lot of protein, but Probably because I was throwing up so much. Let's see. Do you find yourself still having time to do makeup and house chores? Yes, I do. I wasn't doing makeup for the longest time. Again, I'm still healing from my C-section. So like, I just wasn't feeling the best, wasn't really feeling up to it, to like getting ready every day. But the last couple weeks, I would say I've been trying to put in a little bit more effort. It makes me feel better to like kind of get in a routine. So me and baby have kind of gotten into like a little bit of a routine where, you know, she takes her first bottle upstairs in the morning from like anywhere from 7 to 8:30. She takes her first bottle, and then she's ready to go down for another nap, and I come downstairs, get her to sleep, put her in the bouncer, and like get ready, either take a shower, or if I showered at night, whatever, get ready. And then by the time I'm done, she's waking up. So it's like 45 minutes or so. She's waking back up and ready to eat again. She eats a lot during the day. Sometimes it's every 2 hours. Sometimes it's every like 45 minutes to 2 hours. She was doing a lot of like cluster feeding. So yeah, I found myself like getting into that routine. And then chores, I do my chores when like Dan gets home, or I put on the baby carrier and like can do them. But I also couldn't do, like I couldn't vacuum for the longest time because of the C-section. I'm now able to vacuum, but I can't like bring the vacuum upstairs because it's too heavy and they don't want me carrying it up the stairs. So like my chores have been kind of like iffy, and laundry too, because our washer and dryer is in the basement, and they only wanted me going up the stairs once a day because like you use your core to go up the stairs. So a lot of like the laundry has fallen on Dan, but all the other chores around the house, pretty much I've gotten back to doing. Cooking dinner and stuff like that is back to normal. So yeah, it feels good to get back to normal, because I truly did not feel like myself when I was pregnant, because I was just like so, like I just felt just like sick, disgusted. You know what I mean? Is that you? You're stealing the last cookie?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I made cookies a couple days ago. When was it? Monday night, for the nurses at the wound care clinic that I go to. I made them like a basket full of Halloween candy, and I made fresh, you know, homemade chocolate chip cookies, and put them in little trick-or-treat bags and like stuck them in this big thing with candy and little eyeballs and witches hats. And then I made, I don't know if I have a picture. I made this little like wreath thing for them with Cecilia's feet, because they've gotten to know her, because someone has to take me to my appointments because I can't carry her car seat. So it's either like Dan or my mom, and we just bring her obviously with us. So I made this for them with her little footprints. And it says, trick or treat, smell my feet, happy Halloween, love Cecilia. So he just stole the last cookie because I had some extras. Anyways, how's your marriage now with baby girl? Let me just tell you, your marriage goes through it the first couple of weeks, because you're all like, the both of you are sleep deprived. You've got a screaming baby. You're trying to figure out the baby, like get to know the baby, see what she needs. You don't know, like you can't get her to stop crying. Everybody's tired, like just tension is high. And then on top of that, with the C-section, I was like in excruciating pain the first couple of days, and just like out of it, completely out of it. Now it's better, but a baby definitely takes a toll, I would say, on your marriage for the first few weeks. Congratulations on your precious little angel. How is motherhood going? The good, the bad, and the stressful. Motherhood overall is amazing. I absolutely love it. I feel like I was put on this earth to be a mom and to be her mom. Like, I love it. It's my favorite thing. The good is just like seeing her face every day. She smiles now. I think I said that. She smiles now, and just like, it's like heartwarming, and dressing her, it's like the funnest thing ever. And just, I love her. It's just fun. All of it to me is fun. The bad, I haven't found any bads yet. Well, okay. My anxiety, I would say, is bad. I am terrified of her getting sick. And as we're going into like RSV season and like flu season, I'm really nervous about her getting sick and us like taking her out places, even though she's had her first round of shots. I don't know, like with the RSV thing at least, because I keep seeing videos on my TikTok of like poor little babies like retracting while they're breathing, and like it stresses me. But like I try to remind myself, like, she's gonna get sick eventually, like it's inevitable. Babies get sick, kids get sick, and the majority of them are okay, but it's scary. So I guess that would be the bad. And then the stressful is probably just like when she's really colicky and crying, and like I can tell her stomach hurts and I can't soothe her. And I've done everything, like burp her, do like little bicycle legs, given her gripe water or Mylicon drops. She's on Pepcid, which she doesn't really do well on, but she was on Pepcid. We've changed her formula like 4 times. And there's just like some times where she's just, you can tell she's in pain and she's either very gassy and can't get it out, or just like, you could just tell she's uncomfortable and she's screaming, and like I can't console her, and that's stressful. But that's probably the only thing. And also I would say like when we're out in public and she starts crying and like I feel like I can't soothe her and I feel like everyone's staring at me and I'm like, oh my God. But those are just like that's like minuscule compared to the joys of motherhood. I think I'm gonna end that here. I know I didn't show you her. It's been hectic. This was very hectic. Again, this was just my first video getting back into it with having a baby. She's still considered a newborn, and it just, we're getting into it. If you want to see photos of her, you can go to my Instagram. I will obviously like vlog her and stuff like that, but it just didn't work out today for me to show you guys because it just didn't. But I love you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.